I want to start today by talking about counting. Seems simple, right? You see young children that love to learn to count. So let's kind of deep dive into what counting really is and what we want students to be able to do with it. When we think about counting, if I look at my fingers and I start counting and I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, did I really count my fingers? On one hand, I said numbers, right? And you'll see young children who will do that, who will count really fast. And what they don't have is something called one-to-one correspondence. And one-to-one correspondence is when we literally would point at something and counted it. So we would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to say touch one, count one. The end goal is not that students have a bunch of numbers memorized like a poem. The end goal is one-to-one correspondence, that they can touch one and count one to come up with an accurate count of what is in front of them. Let's look at the Common Core State Standard that comes from kindergarten. You'll notice that this comes from Counting and Cardinality, and it says, understand the relationship between numbers and quantities, connect counting to cardinality. And if you look at this first one here, it says, when counting objects, say the number names in the standard order, pairing each object with one and only one number name, and each number name with one and only one object. Again, that's talking about that one-to-one correspondence. One of the tools that we give children to start learning to count is something called a TenFrame. It looks just like this. It's basically an array with a row of 5 and another row of 5, or it can be vertically and have 2 columns of 5. The beauty of the TenFrame, well, we'll get there in a second. Let's first start by counting on the TenFrame. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is get 10 objects. They could be 10 pennies, 10 erasers, 10 candies, that's my kind of counting, and get them and get your TenFrame in front of you and follow along with me as we go. So I want you to start by holding up the first item, and we are going to practice how we would do this in the classroom. So we would literally say 1 and put that on the first square here. Okay, so that is 1. Say 1. 1. Okay, cool. All right, now let's do it again. Get another one. What are we going to call this one? 2. You're right. Okay, so again, we're going to put that in our second box and say 2. 2. Okay, next one. Let's speed it up a little bit. We've got 3. Let's put that one in. Then we have 4. And next we have 5. Okay, stop. Here's why TenFrames are cool. You can look at this and not even have to count, because if you know that the top row is full, then you know that you have how many? 5, right? Okay, let's keep going. So now we have, hold one up, we say 6. We're gonna go back down here. We're gonna talk about the order that I'm putting them on in just a second. Okay, next we have 7, keep going. Then we have 8. Next we have 9. Okay, pause again. Notice that I can actually tell how many objects I have because, can you figure it out? I have 1 empty. Some students actually count on a TenFrame by counting the empties instead of the number of objects they have and subtracting that way. Really fun fact there. Okay, next we have everybody say 10. Okay. I want you to notice that now the TenFrame is full. And we know that if there are no spaces left, we have to have 10 objects. That's awesome. The other thing that's really cool about the TenFrame and the way that I put them on here is that if I go back to, let's say, 7, let me rewind. I've got 7 here. I can see this in a couple of different ways. I can see that I've got 5 on top and 2 on the bottom. I can also see that I've got 3 empties. What's cool about the TenFrame is eventually your brain can learn to recognize that this is 7 without you even counting them, without you even doing 5 plus 2. It's this word called subitizing. Subitizing is your brain's ability to know the count without counting. Let me give you an example of something we subitize every day. How many fingers do I have? 10. Chances are you didn't go, well, let me check. 1, 2, 3. No, you know that you have 10 fingers. We know that we have 10 toes, right? So that's a form of subitizing. Our brain doesn't need to count that anymore. We know that that's just the way it is. Our brains do something very similar with TenFrames, which is why they are amazing. You will see this sometimes, again, vertically. And if you do it vertically, sometimes people will put them on from left to right, top to bottom. I'm often asked, does it matter if students put them wherever they want in the TenFrame? And I'll say yes and no. It really depends. There's nothing mathematically wrong, right? Let's just get that straight. But when it comes to subitizing and those good habits that we want our young students, our kindergartners to work on, we want them understanding the TenFrame and using that to interpret their counting of smaller numbers. This is also going to help us when we think about combinations to 5. It's really going to help us when we think about combinations to 10, which will be kind of our very initial pieces and parts of understanding that beginning addition. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding of this fancy word subitizing and how to count on a TenFrame.